Hopefully we get a good enough view in here. So we have our shift tower, and I don't think you'll ever need to do it, but if you do, it's a clip back here, and this is under a tremendous amount of pressure, so don't take it apart unless you just have to. There is a spring inside there. If that spring ever breaks, you're going to need to get down inside there and open that up. Okay, so we got our fork. It goes in here. This one has to go in first, and let's make sure we get our rod going the right direction. Okay, this is going to face down. And I gotta get my detemp ball in there first. We got a spring and a ball that goes down inside there. And you can use that hole with a punch to hold that down. While you start your rod in there. And this would be better if I had it in a vise, which is what I would normally do. We're going to see how this goes, trying to do this like this. Okay. This thing's going to be flopping all over the place. Okay, this one we can go ahead and we can push all the way through. And we can go ahead and put our roll pin in. And get something on here. Okay, the kit hasn't shown up yet, and I'm going to see if we get new plugs. Each one of these will have a plug that goes into it, so I'm going to leave these out for now. Now we need to, in each one of these, I don't know how easy this is going to be for you to see, but there's a hole that goes in between here, and we're going to need to put 2 balls inside of there. You need to make sure this is in neutral, this rod right here, otherwise it will keep the balls pushed out and you will not get your next rod inside there. Okay, we've got to put our detent in. Let's see if that'll help any at all. Okay, we have our fork. It's going to sit in there this way. We have our next rod, and before we go all the way up into here, we're going to need to put this little pin right here inside there. I'm not going to put it in right this second. I'll wait until we get close to where it's going to go through. And here again, we want this side down. And actually, I think we're facing needs to face that way. So I think this one's on backwards. No, has to be right. Okay, this one faces this way. It has to, or it's not going to go in there. Alright, we're going to get our pin inside there. Put a little grease on there so it doesn't fall out. Alright, we're going to need to put it in neutral again. So we're going to get to the first detent. And then we're going to go one more. And that's neutral. Alright. We put our roll pin in. Let me see. Yeah, it's going to be neutral. Here we go. Now, in that other hole that goes right here, we got to put 2 more balls. Okay. Put our detent spring and ball in. And this time I'm going to put this down this way. Where'd you go? Oh, it's stuck to my magnet. Okay. And we want our shift fork in there this way. go to neutral, one more. Okay. And we can put our roll pin in. Okay, here's a gasket that goes on here. Here's a gasket that goes on this switch. So I'll have to wait to tighten this up until I get my kit. And then our reverse light switch goes in here. And there's 2 roll pins for our shifter. I wouldn't take those out unless you just had to. And then our vent goes in right up there. And I'll probably just put some silicone around that so that it stays in there. And been using this stuff. It's been coming in the rebuild kits. I use that or that Loctite 598.
Can you help me find a Ford part number for this?
Okay, like I said, there's no need in really going any further than this right here if you're not replacing anything here. Get your new synchronizer. These have to line up on these lugs right here. Put your gear on. You're going to get a new washer. There's a little tab, has to line up in that notch right there. And this is a little bit snug fitting, so it's going to have to be pressed all the way down. Just make sure it's lined up. This needs to be heated up and then pressed on as well. And press it all the way down. Once I get that on there, we'll be back. I don't have a camera to press. And put your gear on top and your synchronizer. Lugs are going to have to line up in the lugs again. We have our hub assembly. This side's going to face front. And here again, probably have to press this on. Short end of the taper up. And our synchronizer. We have a snap ring that goes on the rear bearing, and the snap ring is going to face to the outside or rear of the transmission when you put this bearing in. Let's see if we can get this to go on there. Put me in a ass. There we go. First gear. Go ahead and lube this up a little bit. Now in my kit, I got the new race for this, and it was different. So the race goes on there, Once you get this in the case, then you're going to put the bearing in the back. Alright, in the back of your input shaft, there's a snap ring. And the one that's in there originally is going to have tips that look like that. You can't get in behind there and get that out. So when you put the new snap ring in, go and cut you a groove in it so that if you ever need to get in there again, you can get something behind it and pop this out, because you're going to have to destroy this snap ring to get it out of there. Get you some grease and put a layer inside your shaft. And I probably should do this after the fact, but I want to go ahead and do this because this way I can go and put everything on at the press at one time. Just stack your rollers up inside the back there. Just like that. And you don't actually have to take the snap ring out if you don't want to. I just got a new one, and so I just went ahead and did it. Okay, on your oil slinger, this is going to go on this way with the lip up. You can press that down, and you have your bearing, and you're going to press that down with the snap ring grooves up, and then we have our snap ring here, short end of the taper of the tips up, and that's going to go in that groove right there. Alright, so this is what we got here, and the snap ring I had for here was wrong and one didn't come in the kit, so this is the one that goes on here. Alright, for your seal here, you put you a little bit of grease around here, and it'll help keep that spring from popping off. The seal faces this way, and your gasket goes on here with the little notch sitting there. These bolts to hold that in. On your cover for the counter shaft in the front, you have the gasket, this cover, and these flathead screws. For the tail housing, you have your rear seal. It goes in this way. It's going to be pretty much flush, maybe just a tad bit below. It's really going to stop right here on this ledge, so don't try to go any further than that. You have your gasket that goes on the back, and see if we can get this going in the right direction, just like so. You got your bolts that hold that in, and on your speedometer there is no seal that goes in here. It's just sits in there just like that, and screws in. You can put you some thread sealant on there if you want to, and just just tighten it down. You can leave this on now, or you can put it on after you put your housing in. You're going to want to put your counter shaft in. Alright, your reverse idler. And you're going to want this notch oriented down. I believe it was down. Double check that. Yes, oriented down. Okay, so we need our main shaft. And you can put something on the back of this if you want to help keep it from sliding off. In fact, I might do that. Just put an O-ring or something on the back of it. It'll help keep everything from sliding off. Yeah, this is going to be heavy. And this can be a finger smasher, so watch yourself. There we go. And we got to get our reverse slider forward. Or idler. Shouldn't say slider. There we go. Get back on there. Synchronizer. Alright, and we have our cutout of our main shaft that's going to face down. We're going to have to get that all lined up into our main shaft. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now, I am going to put the bearing retainer on there just to hold the input shaft from sliding out. Okay, now let's kind of lean this forward, see if we can kind of get a view into here. I really need to put this in a hole in the table. These are so damn awkward. Pull your O-ring back off. And then your bearing goes in the back. Okay, now the easiest way to do this is to flip this up on its front, or up on its top. You have to turn this a little bit. And then let your counter shaft lie down, and then put your bearings in that hold that in place. And we're a little bit high. There we go. Drop down a little bit. Alright, put your front cover on so that your bearing won't come back out that way. Okay, our snap ring on the back, short end of the taper up.
What do you know? Oh, you got it. Yeah, it's in there. Tuck it in.
Thanks.
Nope.
Okay, once you got that, you want your speedometer gear. Now you can put your gasket on and your tail housing. Okay, we can put the gasket on our lower cover, and we can go ahead and put the, if you want to put gasket sealer on the gasket up there and tighten those down. And get your torque specs here in a minute. Okay, the front and rear 15 to 18, the top cover 20 to 25, the output nut lock 2 gears together 90 to 120 foot-pounds. It's 1 inch and 13/16 on that nut. Now for putting this cover on, let's see if I can keep this from leaning back so far. Alright, in order to get this cover on, put your gasket on. And we're going to line this idler up kind of right towards the back of that right there. And we got that neutral. And you're going to want it kind of in between gears, sort of like that. Damn thing is so stinking heavy. Okay, it's down. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to make sure that we got this all lined up. Alright, we're in reverse. We put it in neutral. We're in neutral. First. Second, third, actually, I'm sorry, I'm all backwards there. We got, that's second, that's first. It's fourth. Third. And let's go ahead and try reverse again. And we got reverse. Alright, we have everything. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this all up. Torque everything down. Since I didn't get a gasket for here, I'm going to use the old gasket and put thread sealant on there. And I guess that's it. Put our speedometer gear in, put thread sealant on that, and we're done with this unit.